Welcome to the Fermented Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Anna, and on this channel I'm sharing our journey of learning how to turn our home into a homestead. Today I am making some blueberry mango jam. I've never made this before. This is a recipe that I got from Suttons Daze. She made this video, I think it was about a year ago. And I originally got the idea from somewhere else. There's a book that I have called Small Batch Preserving, but I didn't particularly care for that recipe, so I went to the internet to hunt down a recipe, and hers was the one that I liked the most, so that's the one that we're going to give a go. So what we need for this recipe is 3 cups of mangoes. This is just 2 mangoes chopped up. It's more like 4 cups, but her recipe calls for 3. And then 6 cups of blueberries, and we just have this big Costco one. And I did kind of somewhat measure it, and it's roughly 6 cups of blueberries. And so all we're gonna do with this is we're gonna bring this over to the stove, and we're gonna cook it down for quite a while until it starts to really release all the liquid and stuff like that. And then after that, we're gonna add sugar and lemon juice and pectin. So let's get on to the stove and start cooking this down. Okay, so now it has kind of rendered down a bit. I'm sure I could probably do more, but I don't have a potato masher like she had in her video. I tried to find one, but I don't have one. With this, I'm just gonna go ahead and buzz it up with my stick wand here. Just a little, nothing crazy. Alright, I'm sure that's good enough. So now, I think the next thing that she added, if I remember, was the lemon juice. 1/4 cup of lemon juice. Okay, so now what we're supposed to do is just let this kind of simmer while I'm stirring it for about 5 minutes. So now that this has had a chance to simmer for 5 minutes, time to add the sugar and the pectin in. Just plop it in there. Stir it in. So then we're just going to bring it up to a rolling boil that we cannot be stirred down. And then we're gonna cook it until it gets up to the temperature that she referenced was 226. I don't know if that's exact or if it's over or what it is, but that's the one that she referenced. So we're gonna find my thermometer, and we're just gonna let this go on mostly high heat. It's like, I don't know, between like 7 and 8 on my stove. And we're just gonna let it go until we get to that point. And right now I do have the spoon and the plate in the freezer ready to go for testing. And I'll show you that when we get to it. Okay, so now test. Pretty good to me. Oh. So you just take the jam, put it on the plate, let it set for a second, and then kind of tilt it and see, it's as thick as you want. I'm perfectly good with that. Let's do a little taste test, shall we? That is some good stuff. So now that this has all been able to cook down, the next step is just to jar it up. And so all we're gonna do, got all of our jars here, they're nice and warm. And so we're just gonna dump the the jam in there. And we're looking for a quarter of an inch of headspace. Okay, so now we're just going to go through each of the jars and make sure that they are filled to a quarter of an inch. So I finally went out and I got one of these handy little thingy jiggers. I did none of these are even close to a quarter of an inch. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now all we're going to do with these is we're just going to wipe down each one of the rims with vinegar and a paper towel. Just to make sure that there's nothing left over on the rims, there's nothing that, any food particles that can obstruct the seal or get in the way or anything like that. It's really hot. Okay, so we got those all wiped down. And now what we have are brand new lids, never been used before. So we're just gonna fingertip tight, and that's as tight as you can get them with these 3 fingers. So the water bath canner is nice and warm back there, and so now we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna start loading up the jars. So we have all of the jam loaded up in the water bath canner. It is turned up to high, and I put a towel underneath it because I don't have a rack for that particular pot, but my regular canning pot is just way too big to be able to use for these. They would just clang around and it would probably just end up breaking half of them. So I just switched to my regulars, like my broth making pot, and so I'm just gonna use that one. I put a towel in the bottom to protect it. And so now all we're gonna do is we're gonna let it come up to a boil. I have it covered with the lid. We're gonna bring it up to a boil, and we're gonna let it go ahead and boil for 15 minutes. And then once the 15 minutes is up, turn it off the heat, take the lid off, and let it set for another 5 minutes, and then I'll pull you back when we're ready to pull them out of the canner. Or I'll bring you back when we're ready to pull them out of the canner. So we got our jam, it is all done, it's ready, it's out of the canner, and it looks super duper dark. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring you guys back tomorrow, and I'm gonna show you what this looks like in the morning. Not in the morning, like more like tomorrow evening, like 24 hours from now. So I'm gonna show you kind of what it looks like, and we're gonna make sure that it actually gelled, because the pectin that I used in this is about 7 years-ish old. It's really old. We got it for free because it was expired at the time we got it, and that was several years ago. So I don't actually know if the pectin works. I've never actually tried it. So we're gonna find out, and I'll let you guys know about that tomorrow. So we'll see you then. The blueberry mango jam has been setting for over 24 hours. It's been like 36 hours. It's the following morning. And so I just wanted to go ahead and show you guys that it totally set. There's no air bubbles in there whatsoever. It is a perfectly set jam. I don't want to open it because I'm not ready to actually eat it. If you remember earlier, we already taste tested the jam. And so I already know that I like it. I already know that it tastes good. I know it's sweet. And now we know that it has set and it is a true jam. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take the rings off of these for proper storage. Oh, and one other thing. they all have their seal on them. So one way that you can tell if you have a seal on your jar is you literally grab it by the lid, and you should be able to lift it no problem, and there shouldn't be any kind of a give or any kind of anything with that. It should just be completely sealed on there. And then obviously also, not having the button popped up. That's one way. But the best way to tell is just to grab it by the lid. And when I'm washing my jars, I typically take the rings off of them, and then I will hold them by the lid to put them into the sink so that I know that that is a super solid seal and I don't have to worry about it. So I definitely recommend you guys do that with all of your jars, just to make sure that you're not gonna have any issues down the road. You're not gonna have any kind of growth or any kind of mold or bacterias or anything like that that's gonna grow in your food pantry. It's gross. So, and then also I know that for the longest time, they've always recommended that you store your jars without the rings on them. And that's what I do. I've heard recently, I think it was Needy Homesteader who had mentioned that now they've changed the guidelines and said that it doesn't matter if you store it with the ring or without, but I will continue to store it without, because that's just, I don't know, it just makes the most sense to me. I like to do that. And I don't stack them either. I just put them in their single layer, and nothing goes on top of it that directly touches it. And that's about pretty much all I'm going to do with this. I'm going to write on it, obviously, with the date and what it is, so I remember down the road, because who's going to remember what this is in 2 years? Not me. If you have any ideas of different types of jams that you would like to see me go ahead and give a try, let me know in the comment section below. I would love to have new ideas and new things to give a try. So, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Bye.